Relief for some, frustration for others as crews work to restore power and clear roads.
It's been a real pain, believe me.
It's just a hassle.
This week's historic rainfall has caused inconveniences for many, and it could be some time before life returns to normal. Plus, reason to celebrate in Ringgold.
Feels great to be back.
For the first time since tornadoes tore through 2 schools, classes are back in session. And as we approach the 10th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, we take a close look at Homeland Security and just how effective it is. Live at 5 starts now.
From Channel 3 Eyewitness News, coverage you can count on. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cindy Sexton.
And I'm David Carroll. Thanks for watching Live at 5 on this much drier day in the Tennessee Valley. But problems caused by this week's heavy rains continue. 2 of the major issues, as you see here, road closures and power outages. Some people are still finding it hard to get around, describing some roads as obstacle courses because they're either flooded or covered with fallen trees. For many people, it's their 3rd day without power.
And you can be sure road and power crews have been hard at work, but it does take time. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Gordon Boyd is going to fill us in on the trouble spots on the roads. First, though, we go to Nick Austin with efforts to get power restored. Nick?
That's right, Cindy. EPB crews started with nearly 60,000 power outages Monday night. Early this afternoon, they only had about 10,000 left. It's less than that now. We'll update you on that in a moment. And actually, extra crews had to be called in to help get the job done a little more quickly. Crews on Standerford Gap Road near the Shenandoah subdivision in Hamilton County worked hard Wednesday to restore lost power due to winds from the remnants of Tropical Storm Lee. It's been a busy year for power crews, both locally and regionally.
Ever since first year, we've been wide open on storms, tornadoes, ice storms, you name it, we've been on it.
Brad Whitfield's crew is from North Carolina-based Pike Electric. They were contracted by EPB to help this go-around. A standard procedure for EPB when restoring power is expected to take more than a day. Joe Faulkner lives just around the corner on Oak Shadows Drive. His power has been off most of the time since Monday night. His mood is brighter since it just came back on.
I am glorious. It's been a real pain, believe me.
His neighbors just 1 street over had power back the very next morning. So why did it take more than 24 hours to get Faulkner's power back on? Whitfield shed some light on that question.
Well, the main line's just behind us, but there's different taps that feeds different streets, and we're working our way up the road to get them on.
Faulkner was patient. He realizes other areas are worse off. For him, it was only a minor inconvenience.
We just had to go, fight the traffic to get down to find somewhere to get some coffee or whatever in the mornings.
He knows Whitfield and everyone else are working as fast as possible.
They're out there climbing the pole, cutting trees, and, taking a chance to get electrocuted.
Well, it takes a while, but we're getting there.
Now, according to the latest from EPB, only around 7,800 homes and businesses are still without power. Remember, they started with 59,000 Monday night, so they're making a lot of progress. They hope to have everyone else back on tomorrow or on Friday at the latest. Live in the newsroom, Nick Austin, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Nick, thank you. And here's a look at the number of power outages in our area. North Georgia EMC last reported about 600 customers still in the dark, mostly in Chattooga and Walker counties. Volunteer Electric has fewer than 1,000 without power. And Georgia Power last reported about 650 outages in northwest Georgia.
Several hundred of our neighbors are still saying the D word, detour. Most floodwaters have receded. What remains, though, downed trees and power lines still in the roadways. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Gordon Boyd has been trailing the trouble, and the crew's trying to fix it. Gordon?
David, those down lines, those limbs, those trees are all twisting together like spaghetti and meatballs, except you cannot clean up this mess with a fork. Chattanooga Public Works alone getting more than 200 calls for service, but its 15 to 20 work crews can't do anything unless they're certain those lines aren't live.
They're fixing everything around here but here.
Here is Big Ridge Road on the hill just south where it joins Hamel. Nobody's getting past the Oak Cluster. Labor Day's evening rains dropped 2 doors shy of Jesse Howard's driveway.
If you can just get people going through, the power's really not that big of an issue. But I mean, it's just getting through because everybody's coming in and turning around, coming in and turning around. It's just a hassle.
He can deal with the detour, only a couple of miles, 5 minutes longer to work. It's
just not having the power.
That could be a bigger hassle. We caught up with Stephen Calbaugh's contract crew about 5 hours into its fix of a snap pole at Lake Resort Terrace.
Folks are driving under the lines, nobody looks up. And the top of the pole was laying horizontal and communication holding it up, and the transformer laying on its side and leaking oil. And, you know, people don't realize what they're driving under when they travel down the road after a storm.
Roy Allison does.
The lines down there, you can see them hanging in the middle of the road.
Not 10 minutes after his crew surveys to see whether Chattanooga Public Works can clear the Big Ridge roadblock.
I'm sure the power board can come in here and kill these transformers or whatever they are, and they can get in here and work on this. Or
Translation, those lines could be live. It's now EPB's problem. Jesse Howard and neighbors could be out of pocket and power another day.
We'll see, man. We will see.
You're not placing bets, huh?
Yeah, right.
Something to keep in mind, some of the contract crews have been working 12 to 16 hours. The one we talked to had spent 2 days on the road after working the Hurricane Irene mess up in New York. This afternoon, Public Works was saying it may be another day, maybe even into Friday, to get all the roads cleared. Live in North Chattanooga, Gordon Boyd, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Gordon, for that report. Of course, roads across the Tennessee Valley, some of them still closed. There are potholes popping up everywhere. We have a county-by-county look at all the trouble spots on our website. Check it out, WRCBTV.com.
Well, we certainly did have some relief from the rain today, and in the coming days, we should see more of that sunshine that was peeking out today. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Paul Barris for our first look at the forecast. Sure did feel good, though, Paul.
Well, you know, I was talking on the radio earlier today about this, and you know, compared to 98, we'll take 58 to 68 anytime. And especially the ground is not hard anymore, so if you fall down, hit your head, at least you're not going to get a concussion. It's soft, it'll absorb the blow. It feels really good out there. A few sprinkles popped up. Let's take a look right now at the live Doppler network, and again, you see that little swirl. That is what's left of the tropical system. It's sitting right over West Virginia. There are showers to the west, showers to the east. There's really not that much around here at all. And most of that rain's going to stay off to the north. The real cool air in that green you see on this map, that's where it's in the 50s, mainly over the plateau areas of eastern Kentucky and also the northern plateau of Tennessee. But 67 in Knoxville, and again in the city and Nashville, while it's much warmer, a lot more sun out near Memphis. We should warm up a bit for tomorrow, probably back to in the 70s. So that's going to be a pretty nice day. I'll give you details on my 7-day.
All right, Paul, thank you. WRCBTV.com is the place to go for up-to-the-minute details. We have lists of the latest power outage numbers and road closings, plus links to the water levels in local lakes, rivers, and creeks. It's online coverage you can count on.
Today, for the first time since the April 27th tornado outbreak, students from Ringgold Middle and high schools were able to actually attend their schools. You know, after the storm, Heritage Middle and High played host to the Ringgold students whose schools were heavily damaged. But now everybody's back in place, and they say their schools are stronger than ever. The first day of school can often be festive, but never quite like this. School pride was everywhere you looked at both Ringgold High and Middle today, as students and teachers resumed classes more than 4 months after the storm.
The school looks fantastic. You know, we've got new paint throughout the building, new ceiling tiles, everything. Great looking new media center. And so I think the kids are going to, you know, proud of it and going to take good care of the new school.
Both schools have been construction zones for the past 4 months, with classes, practices, and athletic events having moved to other schools. It's never easy to take up residence outside your comfort zone, and everyone agrees there's no place like home.
The vibe was pretty upbeat. Everybody, you know, hugging everybody, telling everybody I love you, miss you and stuff.
I was here before 6:30 this morning, and many of them were as well, and there were just lots of hugs and a few tears, and everybody just expressing that we are so glad to be back home. The Blue Nation is home.
We are Ringgold!
Ironically, this long-awaited homecoming was delayed by 1 day when schools were called off Tuesday due to flooding. But as another storm has passed, this is a student body ready and willing to restore Ringgold Tiger pride.
Homecoming week, I know, is just going to be incredible, especially with everything that's happened. Everybody just is ready to support each other and be there.
Welcome back, Blue Nation. Makes you want to kick high. By the way, she mentioned homecoming. It'll have a different look this year as all the so-called home games for Ringgold High School will be played at Finley Stadium here in Chattanooga. The homecoming game against Dalton is set for October 14th. Cindy?
And you know they'll be ready for it. Some Red Bank residents are looking for a new place to call home. Fire tore through a couple of units at the Chalet Apartments early this morning. Investigators believe it started on an upper level, but they're still not sure what sparked the fire. At least 2 apartments were severely damaged. Nobody was hurt. Firefighters escaped unhurt when the 2nd floor of a burning home collapsed this morning. No one was inside this Lake Breeze Drive home when it caught fire. Investigators aren't sure how it started, but they say it did cause some $360,000 in damage. The family had 2 dogs, and one of them was killed in the fire.
An East Ridge man is accused of hitting his girlfriend with a car and trying to kidnap her. Police found the victim lying on Ringgold Road early Sunday morning. She told police this man, Donald Tay Partee, had hit her with a car, which threw her into the air. The victim also says that he grabbed her by the neck and tried to drag her into the car, but she says she was able to fight him off. Partee is charged with aggravated domestic assault and kidnapping.
After days of fighting, crews are finally gaining ground on one of the worst wildfire outbreaks in the past decade. 100,000 acres have burned, along with hundreds of homes and businesses. Plus, a critical look at Homeland Security post 9/11. Some say changes are too focused on catching large terrorist networks and missing the so-called lone wolves. It's a special report coming up.
Looks like a little more sunshine coming up for the next few days and into the weekend. I'll give you details on my 7-day forecast.